Now, the CBI named 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, as the suspected gunman behind the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. As investigators examine the event leading up to the attack, they are seeking to understand the background, motives, and any connections that might explain his actions. The gunman did not have a criminal history reflected in Pennsylvania's public court records. Crooks' political leanings were not immediately clear. Records show Crooks was registered as a Republican voter in Pennsylvania, but federal campaign finance reports also show that he gave $15 to a Progressive Political Action Committee on 20th January 2021. This is the same day President Joe Biden was sworn in to office. My colleague Brian is with us on the broadcast. Brian, if you could take our viewers through the latest developments and revelations that we are in fact getting as far as, of course, Matthew Crooks is concerned.
Well, Asavri, at the very Saturday rally, a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, whose name is Thomas Matthew Crooks, was first caught at the attention of law enforcement when spectators noticed his suspicious behavior outside the event. Now, this tip, which was initiated a frantic search also, but officers couldn't locate him before he climbed onto a roof and opened fire, killing even one spectator. Now, investigators are now seeking clues about what motivated Crooks' shocking attack. Now, the FBI is also treating it as a potential act of domestic terrorism, though they have yet to identify a clear ideological motive, and even conspiracy theories have also surfaced due to the lack of obvious reasons for the attack before Secret Service fatally shot him. Now, President Joe Biden urged the public to avoid assumptions about Crooks' motive and affiliations, emphasizing the need for a thorough and swift investigation by the FBI and partner agencies. Now, the FBI believes that Crooks acted alone, finding bomb-making materials also in his car, but no threatening social media posts or ideological positions that explains his action. Even Trump, whose car, whose gear was grazed in the shooting, remains in great spirits, according to the very advisors. Now, yes, talking about the timeline of the event also, the details of the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Then talking about the suspects also, there were insights into Crooks' background and actions. Even though, yes, right now, the motive is still unknown because the FBI has not determined the motive but believes that Crooks acted this alone. And also, President Biden also called for unity and independent security review. And, Cory Kemartore, who is a former fire chief, died protecting his family. Even Crooks' family has not responded to any inquiries, media inquiries right now. Yes, his father expressed confusion about the situation, but yes, the FBI confirmed that Crooks' family is cooperating. The investigation and reports also indicate that Crooks was acting suspiciously and pacing near the magnetometers at the rally. Despite officers searching for him, he managed to climb a ladder also to the roof before firing at Trump, leading to Secret Service snipers shooting him. Yes.
Professor Madhav Nalapat, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian. So thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX. Now, as far as Thomas Matthew Crooks is concerned, there are a couple of details that have, of course, emerged. The fact that he's 20 years old. Reports are indicating that he, in fact, had explosive material in his car. These are a lot of alarming details are coming in, but not too much has been revealed either, even though 24 hours have elapsed since the incident. What does that then tell us about the internal security architecture of America? Is it a wake-up call for them?
Well, I'd like to point out that there is a theory that Matthew Crooks, basically became a Republican to vote against Donald Trump. It seems that he had a complete sympathy to Donald Trump. Although he was a Democrat with views, and he has contributed Democratic causes, I'm told that he was very liberal and very much a Democrat in his political views while he was studying. The fact is that he may have become a member of the Republican Party to vote against Donald Trump. He had some kind of fixation against Trump. I don't believe this is part of a wider conspiracy, but I do believe that he was motivated by sheer rage against Donald Trump. And this is the problem that's been created by the very inflammatory rhetoric, including by President Biden, that Trump is in the bullseye. What does a bullseye mean? It means the bullseye of a gun. So that kind of rhetoric against Trump, I'm afraid, has really misfired in this particular case. And I think this impressionable young man thought that this is his duty to take down Donald Trump. Donald Trump, David, by sheer providence. He reacted immediately. He ducked, and the Secret Service was surprisingly inept. Again, I don't believe it's a conspiracy. I just believe they were shocked. But the fact that the shooter was able to shoot 5 to 6 shots, and he was in plain sight of people crawling with a gun, and many had identified him and pointed him out to law enforcement there, and they did nothing. It shows a great degree of negligence and carelessness about security on the part of those guarding President Trump. I'm afraid the director of the Secret Service, the new director, is more concerned about various social issues than about the protectees under her care. And as a consequence, morale in the Secret Service, it seems, has gone down. I hope this is not correct. Secret Service is an outstanding institution. In fact, the police in America generally is an outstanding institution, facing very, very hard issues and tackling them quite well. But in this particular case, I think a thorough investigation needs to be launched on the Secret Service, and frankly, on the director. So the director is plainly incompetent. If this can happen to a presidential candidate, it can happen to anybody. And this is a gross failure. And I do believe at the top itself, the Secret Service needs to, be held to account for this, because only a few mistakes, I would say, have been made, but there were too many. The man should have been shot before he fired the bullet that grazed Donald Trump. If Donald Trump had not ducked, there was no Secret Service person in sight. He himself ducked. Nobody had pushed him down. They pushed him down only after the gunman was neutralized. This is frankly, it's a reaction born of shock, of surprise. It's not a conspiracy, but all in all, it speaks of a very gross failure of the protective system around Donald Trump, and it also speaks about the toxic atmosphere in the United States, where abuse against Donald Trump has been consistent, persistent, and vicious, to the extent that highest level of people in the United States who are rivals of Donald Trump join in that. And that has created a mood for impressionable youngsters such as this to say, let's go and do something about this. And in the case of this gentleman, Mr. Crook, he sought to kill President Trump. It's an unpardonable crime. The man got deranged by hate, if I may say so. And I think it's important to understand, for a long time, certain country has been working very hard, and you can see that in some of my writings and all that over the last 3 or 4 years, to raise fault lines. So at the fringes of the political discourse, social discourse, become more powerful at the expense of moderate middle. And I'm glad President Trump and President Biden have called for unity. I would like to just say, in conclusion, I think President Biden is toast. Everybody is going to blame him for this unfairly, but he's toast. And the Democratic Party wants to lose the presidential election. Well, of course, they will stand by President Biden, who has deep pockets, who has very strong, roots within the Democratic Party. But in my view, this assassination is going to be blamed on him unfairly. I can understand. And as a consequence, frankly, I think Trump is going to sweep the election against Biden. Unless there's a new candidate, I don't think there's any chance for the Democratic Party.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.